Also, the craziest thing about Apollo though is about the the moments near the landing. Right, something really interesting was happening with the spacecraft.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. So not a lot of people know this, and I didn't know this before actually
Mm-hmm.
doing a little bit of research while we were or before we recorded our part one of the rocket science series.
Mm-hmm.
But there were actually some moments where Apollo could have failed the first moon landing. How atrocious would that be?
I
If
mean, there were other attempts, and like they didn't. Well,
really.
Apollo 9, if I'm not mistaken, was Apollo 11. Man, we really need to check up on this really quick. Yeah, so Apollo 9 was a human space flight flow in low Earth orbit. Okay, so that was probably just to test out the stuff. So I guess Apollo 11 was the first successful landing on the moon. I think, yeah, okay.
I'm happy it was
Yeah, yeah,
successful.
continue.
So 4 minutes into the landing sequence, descending down onto the moon, Neil Armstrong said into his little microphone, he said, "Program alarm." There was actually on their display, there was an error, and it was error 1202 that was displayed on the screen. And once again, putting ourselves into the minds of Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. You are incredibly far from the Earth, about 1.2 light seconds away from the Earth. And, if you have to abort your lander right now, you are not coming home, okay? You are either, dying on the way down to the moon or dying on the moon or
The abort wouldn't have killed them or anything. Like the entire point of the abort mission would be is that they can come home safely. Because if they didn't abort and they did not land properly, game over. Then they just could not return back unless
but
they send a whole rescue mission.
how do you abort
Because it's
back
not
to
like you
the
don't have
Earth?
any. It's not like you don't have any fuel in your thing. So okay, let me explain this. I love talking about this. So the lunar module, the lander, had two major components: the lander and the craft that basically takes off. So the idea is there's a decoupler in between these two almost separate spacecrafts. So once the craft lands on the moon, right? There is literally that the lander just stays on the moon. It's just chilling there, and it's not. It doesn't get taken back up. But there is a part on the top that has enough fuel to completely return back to the command module that's currently orbiting the moon. So the abort mission would have basically dropped the lander and they would have gone back to the command module. That would have been so they wouldn't have died. They still would have had enough fuel, but the mission would have had to be aborted and they wouldn't have
That's still
actually
risky
landed
though.
on the
No
moon. Sorry?
matter what. No matter what, that's still risky.
Oh yeah, I mean all of these maneuvers, especially in 1969 when it was being done on like a 16-bit processor or something, 32-bit
You could
processor.
probably do it on your phone today.
Like that's what I'm saying, right? Like the
Land.
like that's basically it, right? The like at that time with the technology, with everything, like that was so monumental. And then add on top of it all these small problems that are happening. Like it was just it was really scary, obviously, for them. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was it? No, actually, I mean, okay, I can't say this because I'm not too sure, but I believe it was one of the people inside the landing module that said no, we won't abort it. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I think it was something like that, and it was a pretty interesting story. But anyways, Apollo 11 has a really cool landing story, and this is mainly the reason. Imagine it just hit the rock; it just wouldn't have, like, it would just
But
be
do
on
you
its side and
know?
just wouldn't have been able to do anything.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be sad.
that's a scary situation.
Yeah, for sure.
But do you know how long they actually stayed on the moon for?
Time wise, because
Yeah.
the idea was the command
Oh, here it
module
is. Here it is.
had to do one
Armstrong
orbit.
and Aldrin spent 21 hours 36 minutes on the moon's
That's not
surface.
one orbit. That's not one orbit then.
Yeah,
Probably a lot
after a
more.
rest period that included 7 hours of sleep, the ascent stage engine fired at
Ascent
124
stage.
hours.
Ascent stage. That was the word I was looking for. Yes, the landing and the ascent stage. The ascent. That was the word I was looking for. Yeah. So that would have taken place in the, hopefully not, but like in the abort section. Like that would have happened. That would have need to happen.